Charlesa Hann. I have been with Wingate University for 13 years. I am currently serving as the Dean of the School of Education, also the director of our Wingate online program. We wear multiple hats at Wingate. So I was one of those who made a couple of transitions throughout college. I started off moving out to California. I was into fashion. Believe it or not, I used to do some modeling when I was very much younger, and so I was into fashion. So I started at the Fashion Institute in Los Angeles. And then, due to some financial reasons, I ended up going back to Ohio, where I'm originally from. Went to Kent State University because it was close to home, and they had a fashion program. Didn't like it as much as I thought I would, so then I switched to physical therapy while at Kent State, and had considerable difficulty with the chemistry course. We were not doing well. So I think I changed my major then. I might have done like psychology or something, and then some time into that, married my current boyfriend, who he and I had been together, and so we got married, and then very quickly got pregnant. So I stopped out of school for a while, and then I ended up going, because I'm from Akron, Ohio originally, I ended up going to the University of Akron and just kind of saying, I've got 100 hours, credit hours. I need a degree because we've got a couple of kids now to take care of, and I don't really care what it is. I just need a degree. And they did this, career profile type thing, and said social work. And I went, oh, social work. But then I really got into it and really enjoyed it. So my first career was in social work for probably 10 years or so. And then I got invited to teach at the university, to teach social work courses at the University of Akron. And I just fell in love with teaching. I changed my mind probably about 3 or 4 times, I think, which actually is common. I was doing some research one time on that, that I was sharing with students in one of my classes. And the National Center for Education Statistics says that about 80% of college students will change their major at least once, and that most of them will change 3 times during their academic career. So because I was feeling like, oh my goodness, what's wrong with me that I can't decide, what I want to do. But I think once I started, I enjoyed my social work career, but then when I got into education, even starting at the higher ed level, I really enjoyed helping students grow, helping them to look at things from a different perspective, giving them resources that, might change their mind about how they felt about particular populations of people or circumstances that were occurring. And that kind of made me settle on, maybe I do want to teach. And then there were the benefits of having a schedule that went along with my children's schedule. So I think that a lot of teachers find comfort in saying, I can either have my children at my school, as I did when I taught high school. 2 of my children were at that high school. But, being able to find that balance between doing what you love to do, but being with your family that you love as well. So, yeah, I think internships are extremely important. So I did an internship in my social work practice. And then, as I said, I worked for several years as a social worker in Child Protective Services. And then I was offered an opportunity to teach at the college level. And so I started doing that. At that time, when I worked with that university, I supervised students doing their internship. And whereas I knew it was important when I was a student, it really gave me an opportunity to see the importance of getting them out there and letting them experience some experiential learning. And it also gave them an opportunity to say, this is what I want to do or this is not what I want to do. And when I got into K-12 teaching, I entered as a lateral entry teacher. When I first moved to North Carolina, I was doing some substitute teaching, and because my master's was in social work, my undergrad and master's were in social work, I was able to come in through a lateral entry, take the exam for special education teachers, pass it with the experience that I had from my social work training. And, you know, they observed and they said, you know, we think that you should do this. We need a teacher. And, you know, as we know, there's still a big call for special ed teachers. So I did that for a number of years. So I didn't actually have the student teaching internship. But now, being the Dean of the School of Education at Wingate University, I'm very involved in our students completing their student teaching practicum and making sure that they are learning from it and getting a real taste, because we went through that period with COVID where they couldn't, you know, nobody was in the schools. And so it was very hard when we first came back to campus and K-12 schools opened back up, and our student teachers who had not had a field experience or had not had a pre-student teaching placement were now doing student teaching. And it was difficult for me when a faculty member would say to me, we need a meeting with you because this student's not doing well in student teaching. And I think it's unfortunate because it's a time for them to say, ooh, I really thought I was going to love this, but I don't, or I really do. And so I spend a lot of time talking to, you know, we haven't had a lot of students, but a few who just, you know, came with their faculty advisor to meet with me to say, I don't think this is what I want to do. And it's heart-wrenching for them because they're ready to graduate and they're saying, I don't know that this is what I want to do. So I think it's very important that they get these field experience opportunities, they get these internship or practicum opportunities so that they can not only apply the theory that they've learned in courses, but that they can also say, hey, I really like, and I got to apply what, you know, Dr. So-and-so taught me in ed such and such. I got to apply it here and it was wonderful, it worked great. Or they could say, you know, I'm trying everything I can with this particular child, with this group of children, or maybe I thought I wanted to do third grade, but I think I might like older kids. So I think the value of experiential learning is very important. And actually, I've been in a lot of conversations at the university of how we expand that, not only for teachers, but also for some of our other degree programs, giving them an opportunity to get out there and learn in the field and just, you know, feel comfortable in getting a job in that position when they leave. I think I wanted to know, I knew that I wanted to be a teacher the first day I stepped into the classroom, again at the higher ed level. I had my youngest child will be 30 in 2 weeks. I had presented at a conference on some research I had been working with as a social worker, and the department chair from the School of Social Work at the university was at my presentation. And he came in, and I was pregnant at the time, and he came up to me afterwards and he said, when's your baby due? And I said, July. He said, okay, you need to send me a resume. I'd like you to teach. And I remember thinking, I don't know if I want to teach. You know, same way it was about social work. I don't know if I want to teach. My mother was a teacher, and I felt like, you know, she was always saying, hold on a minute, I got to grade this. Hold on a minute, I'm planning this, you know. And so I thought, I don't know. But I come from a family of teachers. So I got a call one day, mid-August, or, you know, after classes had started, maybe a week after classes had started, sometime late August, that said, we'd like to know if you'd like to pick up this class. Dr. So-and-so had a heart attack, and we really need somebody to pick up his class, and we think you'd be great for it. Have you been cleared to go back to work? And I'm like, I got like another week or something. So we worked it out, and I started, and absolutely loved it. Loved sharing knowledge, loved doing additional research to maybe prepare my lessons, loved seeing the light bulb click in the student when something made sense to them. And so I realized then, 30 years ago, that I really did enjoy teaching. And then, like I said, when I moved here, I spent 5 years, 6 years, I think 5, in high school setting, teaching special ed, and loved that. Just absolutely loved it. I've always been a person to, like the underdog, like I don't believe in labeling people, and I believe that when we label them, then they have a self-fulfilling prophecy to behave like that. And so I was always the one saying, send me your troubled kids. Send me the ones that are bad, which I don't like that word, but, send me the ones that you're having difficulty with. And that's what happened. I was at Porter Ridge High School.
Oh, okay.
And so I think that's what happened. I was able to take my social work skills and move them over into education, and found that I absolutely loved it. And I tell people now, as long as it's not like, engineering or something, you give me content and give me some material and I can teach it. And so I have really loved doing that. I love the reward of seeing students succeed. I had come from a larger state institution, and as I read about Wingate University, I realized that their values of faith, service, and knowledge were similar to my values. And so I applied for a position, and when I came to campus for the interview, I fell in love with the campus. It's absolutely beautiful. And then when I started working there, the small campus closeness. As I said, I had come from a larger state institution, and we were all kind of siloed. This is the school of such and such, and this is this over here, and do we interact? Sometimes maybe. It was very nice that Wingate, one of their assets and one of the things that I think students and families give us praise on is the fact that we are a small community, and we really seem to care. We really care about our students, we care about our faculty, we care about our staff, and it's just been a very nice place. That's why I've been there 13 years. I don't know about ups and downs. I think there are always going to be ups and downs in any position because nothing stays the same. Things change, and so in both of my careers, there were policy changes that affected processes and procedures and how we operated. There are changes in staff, there's turnover, there's things in the political arena that impact us. So, there are always going to be ups and downs, but I don't think anything that really stands out to me where I say, oh, that was just awful, or that was, absolutely wonderful. Again, as I said previously, it's always wonderful when you see the little click, go off in the student, or you see the progress they've made from day one to the, either in the year, in the semester. So I think that's great for me, and I tend to be, I'm a strengths perspective proponent, so I tend to focus more on the ups. I don't, the downs are negative, they drain your energy, and so I leave those alone. And regrets, I don't really think I've had any in my career, other than maybe wishing I had started my PhD earlier than I did, but other than that, I don't think I've had any. I think I would like a high school student to understand, first off, that not knowing exactly what they want to do is okay. That sometimes, as we're growing up, we think about things we want to do. You know, so when we're young children, it's what mommy and daddy do. You know, we get a little bit older and maybe it's, you know, the firefighter or the policeman or something, or the teacher. But that may change by the time you get to a junior or senior. And hopefully you're doing some career exploration and you're thinking about it because you're being asked, what are you going to do when you graduate? What are you going to do when you graduate? But, you know, as I said, it's not uncommon for a college student to change their major. So I think first and foremost, I would like a high school student to know that that's okay. Even if you come to college, like we have some students who come, that when I look at our roster, it says their degree is undeclared, their major is undeclared. That's okay. You've got a little bit of time to explore. Now, we hope that by the time you're at the end of your sophomore year, you know what you're doing because your next 2 years are pretty important. But then I will also say to them that it's important to choose something that you're passionate about. Because this is something you're going to do for quite some time, whether it's the rest of your life or a number of years and you go in a different direction. It's something that you're going to do daily, and that you're going to spend the majority of your time at. You're going to, you know, typically wake up in the morning, or maybe it's an afternoon shift, but you're going to be there most of the day. Your colleagues are going to become your work family. So pick something, choose something that you want to do. And, you know, in the field of education, we have a lot of students who, when I meet with them, they give me a history of everybody in their family who's been a teacher. And I've had a student say to me, I really am not sure I want to be a teacher, but that's what's expected of me. So, you know, I know it's hard, but sometimes you have to go against the grain of maybe what someone wants you to do and choose something that you're passionate enough. And then following that is my third point of believing in yourself. You know, stand up for what you feel is right. Don't be pressured to do something because somebody else wants you to do it. As I said, it needs to be something that you're happy with. But I heard this quote the other day, and I really like it, and I've been sharing it I've shared it with my children. My daughter is going through something, and I shared it with her, but I think it's something I'd love to share with a high school student, and it's a quote by Dennis Waitley, and it's not who you are that holds you back. It's who you think you're not. Believe in yourself. Believe in your dreams. Find your mission and go after it. And that's what I would tell a high school student. Probably what I said earlier, and just pursue my doctorate earlier. And it's funny because I did my master's at Case Western Reserve in Cleveland, Ohio. And at the time, they were starting a program where you could, in 5 years, complete a master's and doctorate. And so this kind of piggybacks off of what I just said, in that the dean of the School of Social Work came to me and said, Charlesa, I really think you need to do this program. And I couldn't see that big at the time. I was graduating with a bachelor's, and I had made my mind up to do a master's, but I couldn't see the doctorate. And I went, oh, that's just too big at the time. So it took me another 10 years after getting my master's to go back and get the doctorate. So if I had to do something differently, I probably would do that. But the flip side of that is, then it would have been a PhD in social work, which would have led me in a totally different direction. So I'm glad that I waited and went back and did a PhD later so that I could make this transition into education. And I laugh because I frequently tell people, retirement, retirement. But I think that my career aspirations right now are to continue to improve programming, student services within the School of Education. I am working on we have a number of partnerships with K-12 systems, as well as community colleges where students can transfer in. I am really committed to trying to educate teachers and get them out there in the field, because we know there's a need for them. So anything that I can come up with that might be creative to get that done as soon as possible without taking away the quality of education that the students are getting. So I think a number of projects that I'm looking on that prepare teachers, as well as some of the other majors that are in our online program, because we have several other majors in addition to teacher education. But just giving people what they want that is affordable for them, that is convenient for them, that ultimately gives them a step up, whether it's entry into a position or if they're already working, how they might advance in that position. Yes, be a teacher. You know, it's a very rewarding career, and we need it. You know, our legacy is what we leave behind, and our children are our legacy. So I think that we owe it, from my opinion, we owe it to those who want to be teachers, to give them the greatest support, the greatest foundation, the skills and competencies that they need to be able to really educate children that will allow us to have a better society and to have left a legacy. And if teaching is not your thing, that's okay too. We will still take you at Wingate University if you want to come there, or anywhere else. You know, I'm not tooting my horn for Wingate University, but I think that higher education, you know, there's research out there that tells us the difference in an income you'll make with a high school education and a college education. You know, so remembering to believe in yourself and know that sometimes you are your biggest obstacle, your feelings of self-doubt, and that's okay, because we all make mistakes. None of us is perfect, and it's a learning and growing opportunity. So just stay true to yourself and don't let anything get in your way.